Oh, okay. So I got one more for you. So that's pretty amazing. Am I right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's wonky. I'm curious.
That's
about that.
weird. That's weird. Okay,
It's hinky.
So it is hinky. It is hinky. So I got a hardcover of this because if there's a book that's legitimate prophecy, I want a hardcover version. I got it on my Kindle too, but I want this on my fucking bookshelf because I feel like this guy was tapping into something. The coincidences are too weird, right? And then I got this other one. This might even strike you as crazier. So I got this book. Project Mars, a technical tale by Dr. Werner von Braun. Now we all know who Werner von Braun is, right? He what was he?
He was a Nazi for the Germans with the rockets.
That's goddamn right. And Harry, I think I need you to do that salute again so we can use that as we're going to use that as the thumbnail for the episode. Perfect. Excellent. All right. So
how Muskian of you.
Yes, exactly. Now listen to this. How Muskian of him. In this book, there's a colony on Mars. The mayor of Mars is called the Elon.
Is he South African?
I don't know. I shit you not. But the title of the mayor of Mars is called the Elon. Okay?
That's funny, yeah.
And this was written, I don't want a publication date, 1949, by the Nazi rocket scientist Werner von Braun. I mean,
there you go. It's like the 1948 definition of these people were all monsters. That's why we shouldn't take them seriously.
But tell me that. I mean, you can't just go,
that's strange.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. The mayor of Mars is called the Elon? What the fuck word did you just make up?
As was foretold by the flatulent ravings of a sentient pair of anguish, this is the New World Order broadcast, coming to you live from the end of the world.
Sentient pair of... I didn't get that.
A sentient pair of anguish. Look up a pair of anguish.
Well, no, tell me the meaning. I don't want to look it up.
A pair of anguish is a torture device that they put inside your ass and spread out until it rips your sphincter. That's why I said the flatulent ravings of a sentient pair of anguish.
Oh, a sentient pair of anguish. Oh my god, that is exactly our mission statement. I'm probably going to keep this in the recording.
Where did you get that? From the Catholic Church?
Probably. The Inquisition. What a show.
That's right. This is the New World Order broadcast. We are the existential, conscious pair of anguish. Go look up Pair of Anguish. Talking Head just had me do it, and I think it's worth looking into. Pair spelled P-E-A-R of Anguish. I'm your host, the Hatman. I am joined in the studio by Harry, the Taxman, and we are joined remotely once again by Talking Head number 6, who is broadcasting from an undisclosed location. Gentlemen, what's on the agenda for today? What are we doing? Who has something interesting to talk about?
You got the prophecy to talk about. I got the president's gift.
Talking Head number 6.
What's the president's
Talking Head number 6. What do we have to talk about here? What's going on?
I heard somebody refer to the Doge team as Doge bags, and I'd like to get that trending. So I thought that was fun.
Well, first of all, let me say this. Our channel does not have the ability to get anything trending, and frankly, I blame you two motherfuckers. I am a creative genius, okay? I put this whole thing together, and listen to me. Look at these numbers, okay? We're going to go on the internet right now. Look at these numbers, okay? Every single broadcast that we do at this point across all platforms generally speaking, has well over 100 views. We are up to 51 subscribers on YouTube alone.
Oh, Jesus.
And
that's terrifying.
That is all within a short 12 months. Now, obviously, I'm the one who comes up with every single show here. I mean, there is... Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm a marketing genius. I have done this all by myself. You guys got to start pulling your fucking weight, okay? I mean, in 12 months, we have 51 subscribers. We're getting like 100 views per video per across all platforms. I mean, that's unbelievable. There is an article that I saw online the other day. Okay, it's a brand new article that's profiling our podcast. We are called, according to this article, the most underrated podcast right now on the internet. We are hot on the heels of the world's biggest podcasts. Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman, Tim Dillon, that other one. I mean, we are coming after them. I mean, when somebody writes an article about you and they say that you are the most underrated anything, you know you're about to blow up, okay? You're like in the zeitgeist. I mean, what the fuck are you guys doing to help promote the channel? I mean,
I'm sorry, so who wrote an article?
The name of it is NWONOW blog on Tumblr. Yeah, they happen to have the same name as us.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, I mean, the good thing is that, you know, we're on a timeline now. So with those subscription numbers and that rate of subscription increases, I have some good news. By the year 21632, so 21632. We will have 1 million.
21632. That's 5 numbers, man. What will our subscription be by 21632?
1 million viewers.
Oh my God! So only almost 20,000 years from now we'll hit 1 million subscribers. Yeah. And then what's Joe? And I mean, then what's Joe Rogan gonna do?
No, yeah. He's going to be joining me in the grave.
He's going to be joining you in the... Why? Oh, he may die. Yes. He may die.
You never know.
We didn't
that ivermectin, I hear it does great things.
Yeah. Well, we didn't tell the Hatman to take a 12-month vacation wherever he traveled. You've been in MAI for 12 months.
I was out doing New World Order business. Oh, and that's why I'm saying I can't always be here for you guys. Okay, I started this to promote the New World Order's agenda. Okay, so sometimes I can't be here. What's keeping you guys from doing this without me? I mean, we got to keep it going. We got it full steam ahead, fellas. I mean, what's to keep you guys from doing this while I'm out doing the devil's work? I had to go out to New Jersey.
Overlord's work.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go out to New Jersey, and I had to figure out a way to steal the power of the sun and sell it back to human beings. And it ended up that business already existed. It's called selling solar panels. But, I didn't know that at the time, and it sounded like a pretty nefarious plot. I was imagining Mr. Burns on The Simpsons, putting a dome over the entire world and then selling light back to people. But, it was already a business, and I made a little money, but, I had to tell the New World Order, hey, man, there's a lot of people that are already doing this, so I came back. But then I find that nobody's posted anything to the channel in, like, fucking 6 months. What's going on with you guys?
Well, China has the markup in the market, and you found that out.
I was selling only Satan's playthings manufactured here in the Great Western Satan, the United States of America. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Yes. Nothing from the other Satan, the communist China. Nothing from that. So what are you doing, talking head?
At this point, the tariffs would destroy any kind of profits you could run on that anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. What did he increase all the tariffs by?
Like, so
China.
he's been playing jump rope with that whole thing, and it's got like the market in absolute chaos. Not that I care about the stock market. Like, people would be like, "Oh, you can tell the economy is good because it's like the whole thing when Joe Biden was president was they were sitting there and trying to convince everybody that the economy was good because well, look at the stock market. It's like that's not a good barometer for how the general economy is going. That's just like how do rich people feel, and rich people were feeling good because they were getting rich.
Yeah, I mean, I heard somebody talk about this once and I completely agreed with them. What is a good barometer for economic growth? I mean, it really is the spending power of the middle class, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's different indexes that they'll sit there and they'll look into when they're actually figuring out what kind of percentage of economic growth they're looking at. Most people focus on the stock market because that's kind of the only thing that the rich people care about. But it's like when you've got drastic polarization between different economic classes, it's like the stock market could be doing fucking great, but that's only affecting like 10% of the people.
Well, it's affecting anybody who has the money to invest in it. Listen, why I was away and what I found out about China is irrelevant to this fucking discussion. You guys are not pulling your weight. And I mean, Harry is even going out to stores with hand-printed flyers for our channel for the episode that he did with me, number 3, Death and Taxes, and promoting it that way because that's like his pet project to convince people that paying income taxes are illegal, and he wants to get his story out there about how he actually did beat the IRS in open court and got a full refund for the tax year and has not paid income taxes since. Come get him, fellas, come get him.
Yeah,
he's here.
No, don't put your hands up. That's a sign of weakness. But I did actually see. I did see that little like mini episode where you guys were doing the Death and Taxes recap. I did watch that one.
You did watch. Yeah, you did watch that one. Yeah, that got a lot of views too. But I mean, he's promoting it, so I mean, at least he's doing that. Now, granted, on the flyers and most of the social media posts that he puts up, the URL happens to be incorrect. But with a little Google searching, once you get over that softcore porn channel that has the same name as us on YouTube, you guys remember that?
Yeah, with the captive audience girl. Yeah, I had to point out that the door was locked from the outside.
Yeah. The Asian chick. I think I'm going to take a quick pause here and we can replay that for people. Here is the actual New World Order Now YouTube channel. Enjoy. So, I mean, that's fucking brilliant. Most people who look at Harry and they're actually curious. They're gonna be like, well, that URL doesn't work. Let me just do a Google search. And they're gonna end up being, ooh, Asian porn. I like this guy. But at least he's doing something, talking head. What are you doing?
Living.
Building ovens for the Nazis.
Ooh, the Starbucks Nazis. Ooh.
I really feel like that doesn't exactly work correctly, but yeah.
Who are they putting in their ovens?
I don't think I work on anything large enough to fit a human
in. I'll build you one.
Listen, guys.
I'm sure you would.
All I'm saying is we got to get this show on the road. Okay, who wants?
I am on the road. I'm remote right now. The show is literally on the road.
Yeah.
Who wants a promotion in the New World Order? Who wants a promotion? Talking Head, you've recently been demoted back to number 6 because you didn't call me when a jet crashed into Philadelphia. So you're back to number 6. I did have you as Talking Head number 5. And I remember when we first started the podcast, you were like, I understand why I'm Talking Head. We want to give everybody code names for the New World Order.
Speaking of which, quick sidetrack. I totally meant to order a key green turtleneck before we did this again and completely forgot to do it.
Bad Irishman.
Well, they should be on discount right now, because the Irish holiday,
St. Patrick's Day. Yeah,
St. Patrick's Day is coming up, so it'd probably be pretty easy for you to do. But listen, I mean, you asked me the question when we started this podcast. Well, I understand I'm talking head. Why do I have to be talking head number 6? And I said, well, that way you have room to grow, so I can give you a promotion. And after doing so well for the first few broadcasts, we promoted you. Not only were you able to be elevated to talking head number 5, but also we gave you access to the Jewish space laser program, Goyim Division, where you get to press the button to blow up remote targets from outer space, whether they are individuals or overvalued, underutilized real estate. And I mean, you did a great job with Hawaii. So, I mean, do you not want to have that access anymore? I mean, you were having fun. I saw you like blowing all that shit up, and then you got pissed at Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, that kind of backfired on you. But, you know, you did a good job burning everything down. And now somebody else did the LA fires. I mean, that wasn't even you. Don't you miss that?
Hey, I took care of shit on October 7th.
Okay. Okay, but I'm attacking the White House right now.
Oh, no, you're not. No, we'll get to that in a second. I want to give you guys a little inspiration, okay? I need to remind you guys our mission statement, okay? This is what we're all about, gentlemen. All right, you want a promotion, you have to remember this. This is our mission statement. Gonna make sure I can get it up here. All right?
Oh, God. I was about to make a joke to say, you're not playing that, are you? And then you are. Good Lord.
This is our mission statement, gentlemen. Watch and learn.
Is your life hollow? Meaningless? Full of saccharine bliss and midday doldrums? Are you devoid of fear?
The way that girl was just like smiling before that.
Is there an emptiness you only truly feel when in the presence of people who love and care about you?
Yes, and yes.
Do you cut yourself just to feel anything?
All the time.
We have and are the solution. New World Order now.
This is what it's all about, gentlemen. Let's go. Let's get your juices flowing. Mission statement now. Here it is.
Complacency has broken your spirit. We have the fear you need to motivate you. Global warming.
That's right.
The melting polar bears.
Globalism. Just the globe. Pollution. Governmental regulation. The governmental regulation of pollution. The deafening cries of the blue-collar workers demanding less regulation to save their jobs. The deafening cries of billionaires demanding that the blue-collar workers elicit deafening cries for the deregulation of pollution to save the profits made on the machines that will replace the deafening workers. Melanin content. President.
I love this. That is a hard right
Not
turn.
that one. The bad one. Nuclear war. The collapse of the nuclear family. The atomic disintegration of the nuclear family through nuclear war. Frightening military technology. Frightening biological technology. Frightening biological military technology. Science! We can terrorize you with the war on terror. We have the technology.
caustic, inexplicable, inexcusable technology. Made in America by the finest governmentally subsidized corporations. We can't fail because we won't let them fail. And failure is not an option.
God, I love AI.
Subscribe to a better future. Our future. Ring the sacred bell. It calls us.
That's not AI, those are
It
Ralph's
makes
children.
us become one with you.
Oh, they are. They are.
It makes you
I mean, this was done a couple of years
become
ago. They're a little bit bigger now.
with the future. Be notified.
They grow so fast.
Of the future. The future is inside
So many shed
of
skins.
you. We are the future.
Like snakes, except they all look
the
human.
Future inside of you. Let us inside of you. Unleash your potential. Unleash the potential for us being inside of you. Don't you want a better future? Your children deserve the money to eat, to grow, to consume. Bring order to the chaos of your life with the chaos of the New World Order. Submit to subscription. Subscription is not voluntary.
Gentlemen, that's it. I mean, we can't
Oh,
get
that's the end
any.
of the show? Cool. Oh,
We
sorry.
can't get any clearer than that. That is our mission statement. When complacency has taken hold of your life, we are the chaos you need. Gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, Harry. What have you done this week to do the devil's work and sow dissension and chaos in the culture? Go.
Right. The White House is about to get some gifts from me.
Woo! Here we go.
Why
This-
do I feel like that there's an FBI investigation that's about to start from this video?
Who cares?
Talking head, if you're not having the FBI investigate you, you're not doing the devil's work. Let's go, Harry. Talk to me.
Look at this. You see this?
We see it.
I'm sending to the press secretary for President Trump. That
Oh,
cute blonde.
the cute blonde.
Who had the cross on at one meeting.
Yes.
Some Democratic brought up the issue, and the next day she didn't have it.
Right.
So I'm sending her this.
So what is that?
It's a piece of shungite
Okay.
with a gold cross and gems and
Beautiful.
white and quartz in it.
Beautiful. Dude,
This is made out of shungite.
you might have a new girlfriend soon.
No, she's married.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
She's got 2 kids.
but
I ain't gonna share my pension with nobody.
I don't think she needs it.
not
I'm
gonna
gonna be
share
honest
my
with you. I don't
pension.
think she needs
Oh.
it.
So this
That's
is
great.
made out of shungite, and this is what I get from my Russian friends.
Yeah,
Now, I'm sending her this, and I hope she appreciates that.
I think she will.
And it's made out of shungite. If anybody is interested, look up shungite.
Right.
Then I got something for President Trump.
Okay. What do you have for President Trump?
I have a piece of shungite with the tree of life.
Nice.
So he claims to be a Christian, but you know what? I don't think he knows the Bible very well.
I'm pretty sure that the tree of life is good for somebody who can't decide what religion he is. I
Yes.
think that was a good choice.
Yes, and then I'm thinking of sending.
Oh my goodness! Now what's the little gem on the top of that one?
It's the tree of life. That's my trademark.
Nice.
And this is about 7 pounds of shungite
Okay.
that covers about 2,800 feet
Yeah.
in the house.
Nice.
And it absorbs the frequencies
Nice.
that come off the smart meters, the
Okay.
smartphones,
Mm-hmm.
and anything that eliminates radiation,
Yeah.
and off that, it absorbs it and breaks it.
Basically anything that's close to the electromagnetic end of the spectrum.
it,
right.
it does it, and it gets in there and it breaks up the signal to take the harmful stuff out.
Nice.
I hope they appreciate that.
Right.
And if it goes through the machine, I don't know what it's going to do through the X-ray machine.
Well, I think that they will appreciate it, and you'll probably at least get a letter of acknowledgement, if not an immediate cabinet. A full pardon.
No, maybe I could just... I haven't... No, wait a minute. I can't say I committed a crime. But maybe Elon Musk will invite me to join this team.
That's what I was going to say. I think you might get an offer letter for an immediate cabinet position. Let me tell you something that's not going to happen when they receive this. They definitely will not have the bomb squad in the White House attempting to X-ray the device, finding out that they can't, finding out that it's giving off some sort of electromagnetic field, throwing it into, I don't know where they throw bombs in order to see if they go off, and then also knocking on your door and arresting you and interrogating you. That's definitely not going to happen.
Right. Well, it's like building the ark from the Bible. Like what one Moses had.
So how is it like building the ark from the Bible?
Well, they did that in the University of Minnesota. They built a copy of the ark.
Yeah.
It was gathering energy, and it was reading it off.
Oh, right.
So
the Ark of the Covenant, not Noah's Ark. I got you. Okay. Yeah.
So, like I said, I may get an offer from Elon Musk to join the scientific team. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Can you imagine Harry? Which fucking key? Can you imagine Harry on Elon Musk's like SpaceX project, and they're putting shungite into like the heat barriers? That'd be fucking amazing.
So the funny thing is, I know that recently you sat there and had me look up some parts for you to sit there and get the computer hardwired because you were having Wi-Fi issues. I'm sorry, how many square feet does that shungite stop 5G transmissions? Because I think that might be your problem.
Yeah, that's a good point, Harry. I think that all your shungite was interfering with our Wi-Fi signal, so we actually got the Doomsday device behind Harry over there. That's now connected through Ethernet cable. Talking Head helped us out with that. Yeah, thank you, Talking Head. Appreciate it.
No, of course, but yeah, I'm wondering if you've got that many pounds of shungite in your home, if that might be the problem.
Dude, it's in the walls. Watch the last podcast. It's wild. I didn't know he put that in the fucking walls. It's in the concrete.
Oh, God, that's funny.
Yeah, so if you ever have Wi-Fi problems here at the compound, that could be a reason why. So, but Talking Head,
it takes all the harmful radiation out. You know, like the stuff that makes things communicate.
But to his point, Talking Head number 6, I asked him, what have you done for the New World Order lately? And right away, he's got something. Now, so I know that you helped us with the splitter. I know that you built the Doomsday device, but Talking Head, what have you done for us lately? What have you done for us lately?
I knew that was it. So what I did is I actually built a 25-foot tall shungite cross for the press secretary to walk under the burden of out to the pulpit every day. And you know, because they're such victims over there, I wanted to give them a proper symbol of that. And I feel like it's disgraceful that Democrats made her take off the cross. And like I said last time I was on, I think the proper reaction is a bigger cross, and I think putting one up behind that pulpit and taking questions from atop it would definitely send the right message.
No, I think that you should also send one to J.D. Vance. That way, every time she comes out to the pulpit as press secretary, she's like dragging it behind her like Jesus. And everywhere that J.D. Vance goes, he's dragging it. Like, he goes to get, like, a new meeting with Zelensky. He's, like, dragging it into the room, you know? They gotta, like, hang him up on it.
I'm such a victim.
Hey, listen, you want to be like Christ? Here you go. Fucking do it. Like, I want him nailed up on top of a fucking shungite cross, and then you can conduct the meeting. Let's see him negotiate from a place of true pain. Maybe that'll give him some empathy. I don't know.
Exactly. You gotta sit there and, like, you know, Michelle Obama had a famous saying: "When they go low, we go high." what's higher than being atop a cross on a hill in Golgotha?
Well, honestly, it's like Jesus said. He said, John, where's John when he was up on the cross? And John says to him, I'm here, my Lord. I'm here. And he walks up to the cross. My Lord, what is it? What do you need? And Jesus looks at him with tears in his eyes. And he looks off over the horizon and he says, John, I think I can see my house from here.
I thought you were gonna bust into always look on the bright side of life.
Yeah, Monty Python did it better. I was trying. It's an old joke, but I thought I'd give it a shot.
No, it was definitely good.
Anyway, listen,
I appreciated it.
You already have your space laser button, talking head. Listen, I'll come up with I'll reinstate your privileges if you do some work for the New World Order this week. And Harry, you are officially given your passkey for the Jewish space laser program, Goyim Division. Everybody give Harry a round of applause. Good job, Harry. Promoting the shit out of the New World Order.
Speaking of Goyas,
Goyim.
Goyim means monster in Jewish. Right?
Well, it means non-Jewish person. You're talking about golem.
Golem.
Yeah, a golem is a synthesized
and
monster
go look
of,
under the 1930 Law Dictionary where they describe the human being as a monster.
All right, you guys want to get into this now? We can get into that now. Why not? We're just gonna.
It's
go
right there. No, you got it right there.
All right, guys.
Well, actually, but before we get into that, just while it's still on my mind, there's two things that I wanted to bring up real quick. One is a complete non sequitur that I read recently that apparently Lady Gaga's new album was heavily inspired by her love of Nine Inch Nails, so I'm very curious to listen to more of it.
Well, you know what? After she came out with the Fame Monster album, Marilyn Manson worked with her. But afterward, he goes, if somebody's going to be so inspired by your art, they should at least give you some fucking credit. So she's obviously inspired by dark music. Yeah.
Well, sure. The other thing I wanted to say is when you were playing that ad that we made, that it had that shot of Christian Bale as Jason Bateman, I think, right, in American Psycho.
Patrick Bateman, yeah.
Patrick Bateman. That's right. Jason Bateman's an actor. But yeah, did you get that thing that I sent you? The article about him playing that role.
Yeah, I responded to it. I already knew that, but I didn't know that the other actors on set thought he was doing such a bad job. But I know that he got that role over Leonardo DiCaprio because he understood that it was a comedy and this guy's supposed to be inhuman and disconnected and completely alien from his surroundings. I already knew that. And I knew that Leonardo DiCaprio was up for the role, but he took the role way too seriously for it to achieve the effect the director wanted to have. I knew that already. But yeah, I responded to it. It's cool.
No, I know. Well, I was, man, just way to stop how the sausage is being made. But no, yeah. So I thought that was really interesting that Christian Bale, all the actors around him when he was in American Psycho, were wondering why the fuck he was cast in this role because he was so terrible. Yeah. And then when they actually saw the movie, they're like, oh, he understood what was going on to a fucking T. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Once they saw the movie, they realized what he was doing. So what? So how did I stop the sausage from being made? Are you trying to tie this in to your role in the NWO, and eventually we're going to figure out what you've been doing all along?
Oh no! I was just saying that because you were sitting there and be like, yeah, I responded to it. It's I was just using that as a segue. Anyway,
all right. Well, listen, man, I'm fucking exhausted. I haven't eaten in 6 days.
Because you haven't eaten, yeah.
Okay, I'm on a fast. Because Harry likes to cook, and he's turning me into a big fat fatty.
When you fast, it makes you slow.
Yeah, well, it does. So I'm trying to keep my energy up, but I'm running on pure caffeine and fucking willpower right now. So if I'm a little verbose, you have to forgive me. I'm trying not to be a fucking stick in the mud. But anyway, dude, Hatman is turning into the Fat Man. Can't have that.
Hatman.
Yeah, I can't have it. I'm not coming on the fucking podcast and be like, I am your host, the Fat Man. So today's my last day of fasting. I have pork chops and green beans thawing in the pan right now. I'm going to start cooking at 11:45. By 12:05, I'm going to be stuffing my fucking face, man.
Maybe I'll bake you a cake.
No sugar. No sugar. Come on.
Oh,
what are you
okay.
doing? What are you doing to
and
me?
applesauce.
Get thee behind me, Satan. You keep doing this to me. No. Okay.
Pork chops
So,
and applesauce.
No applesauce. That's sugar. Will you stop fucking tempting me? Trying to exhibit willpower here. Motherfuckers. All right. Human beings are a monster by legal definition. So this is from, I thought this was really interesting. I wanted to share some of this. So let me read a little bit of this to you guys. From Ballantyne's Law Dictionary 1948 edition, human being is defined as follows. Quote, sea monster, unquote. Total definition. Now, from the same dictionary, go look up monster, and it is defined. This doesn't have the whole definition.
Yeah, so what? I'm sorry.
Hang on.
Dictionary is this? Okay.
The Law Dictionary. It's called Ballantyne's Law Dictionary from 1948, the 1948 edition. Okay, so human being is defined sea monster, and then if you look up monster in the same Law Dictionary, it says a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. A monster hath no inheritable blood and cannot be heir to any land. So I just want to stop right there before I get into more that people found on this little chat room here. It sounds like a very legal way for the powers that be, the New World Order, the Illuminati, us, essentially. We're still lower level because I keep getting this reptilian alien behind me. I keep avoiding his attempt at psychically taking over my body. So we're still lower rung. God damn it, I got to get used to these keys. So we're still lower along NWO. We're proving ourselves. But it seems like this is a legal loophole for the Illuminati to be able to say, we don't agree with your morality. You're exhibiting base. You're exhibiting like your baser instincts in your daily life. Therefore, you do not have the rights that a citizenship of a human being in our country is due to have under the Constitution.
So my question is, what is Ballantyne's Law Dictionary exactly?
It's a fucking law dictionary, dude. It's like Black's Law Dictionary. It's a dictionary of terms and how they're interpreted in legal cases.
So my only guess is that with it being the 1948 edition specifically, that like somebody was.
Yeah, that's not that long ago, man.
Nazis.
I don't know. So, like, if you're a Nazi, you can't inherit property. I mean, what do we? It looks like a very aristocratic way of saying if we don't like you, you have no rights.
I mean, that's why I was asking is like what exactly the purpose of that book is, because so I understand that it's a law dictionary. My point is that specific edition of it. It's the 1948 edition, so I'm assuming they've updated it. It almost seems like it was written by somebody who was making a commentary about humanity's inhumanity to man. Like somebody snuck it in past the editor because it was 1948.
I don't know, man. I don't interpret it as being like an artistic expression against Nazism. Harry, because I would assume, and Harry, tell me if you would agree with me, that earlier editions of the Ballantyne's Law Dictionary probably would have had the same definition, and then it was probably updated at a later date to whatever Black's Law Dictionary.
It's been updated. They changed the terms a little bit, so they keep control of you and saying, if you go to court, you're an imbecile. You're stupid. You're a child. You do not have any rights. You don't have no rights at all.
Right.
And we are your parents, and we are telling you what to do. That's why people don't understand when they go to court. If you go under their rules, they got you, and they keep you confused.
Yeah.
Except once in a while, you get a damn goddamn idiot who's like outrageous, and he puts their rules against them, and then they get stuck, and they don't know how to answer them. So
I guess my question would be: is so? Do you think that that definition of human doesn't apply to the bailiffs and the lawyers and the judges? Do they consider themselves not human?
They're elite. It belongs to the elite, and they are the masters.
No, a talking head, I think you're missing a little deductive reasoning here. So let me explain this to you real quick. If under human being,
like
it
where
says
are you guys approaching this from?
So little deductive reasoning. So I thought about this for a hot second, and I was like, I think I understand what this is doing. And then I read some other commentaries on it from this chat room, and a few other people agree with me. I think I'm on the right track here. If your definition of a word is defined by another word that says this, so in other words, human being, sea monster. I was like, okay, well, let's see what it says about monster. A human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. What it means is that you are only considered a human being if you are a human being by birth, but do not have those characteristics of a lower animal. You see what I'm saying? You see what they're getting at here? If you exhibit a base or a crude nature, they're going to consider you a monster, which is half animal, half human.
Yeah, but they're defining... So if it's a law dictionary, they're defining human being as a monster. So what do they consider themselves then?
No, that's not what they're doing. Human being, sea monster. It doesn't mean that human being means the same thing as monster, because then you read the definition for monster. A human
what is the
being
definition
by
for
birth,
human being? Just sea monster? Is that
yes.
the only thing that's there is sea monster?
Correct. That's it. So then
that
you
means
go
that
to
every
monster.
Human being fits under that definition.
No, wait, listen to me.
Okay.
Deduction. So this is a deductive.
This feels inductive, but go on.
No, this is a deductive definition, okay? Because under monster, it says a human being by birth, but in some part so that's exclusionary. That's deduction. But in some part resembling a lower animal means that a human being, under that definition, is a human being by birth, but does not resemble in some part a lower animal. Do you see where I'm getting at?
Yeah,
and that's the way they do things. That's the way they do things in legalese all the time.
That's not how dictionaries work.
I'll tell you what. I've read a lot of Black's Law Dictionary, and that's definitely the way law dictionaries work.
But so if you had something that said human being and then in parentheses sea monster, but then also had a definition for what a human being is, then I would agree with you. But if the only thing under human being is sea monster, then how can... So my point is like, I don't know what they were trying to do with that, but that's an absolute paradox, because you're sitting there and you're saying that the definition of a human being is sea monster. Then you go to monster, it's like someone who is born looking like a human being, but that would make all human beings monster, because there's no other definition. You know what I mean?
It would make all human beings who are born human but exhibit resemblances to a lower animal monsters. And if you deduct what a human being is from that definition, you can conclude that a human being... Holy fuck!
Sorry, you can't, because there's no other definition under human being. That's what I'm saying. If they had a definition under human being and then had in parentheses sea monster, I would agree with you. But
okay, I don't think you're getting the logic of how legalese works. Okay, so for a moment, let's take my word for it that they're allowing you to find the definition of human being by deducting the differentiation between human and monster under the definition monster. Okay, let's assume that I'm right, because these law dictionaries do shit like that all the time. Harry has a copy of the most current edition of Black's Law Dictionary, and it's filled with shit like that.
But let me give you a little history. In the Roman era, from Roman law, if a prostitute has a baby, the child is listed as a monster. And because this country is Judeo-Christian law, they took that from the Roman law and put it into this country, and being a monster is one of a lower species that is not able to understand what the written law is, and the way they written it is they don't want you to be equal as a citizen. And there a lot of the comments is just strictly they label you something to make you look stupid in their game. That's the way they control you.
But these games are not just about your feelings. These are definitions of legal terms.
These are legal definitions that the judge knows, and in his mind, you don't have control of the language. Therefore, you're in my court, and it's my rules.
And if you use certain words, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, but before we get into how it's used, Talking Head, I found a couple paragraphs about this. So this explains what I'm trying to say. Okay. Listen to this. So now the problem here, I think, is that most people reading this think, so these evil lawyers and NWOists are saying that all humans are monsters legally, but that doesn't appear to be how it is working. So you have to think of legal terms and definitions about how they work in court, okay? Firstly, saying that the dictionary is defining human as monster by definition creates a logical contradiction because the term monster is defined as a human being that has been radically deformed. Therefore, the definition of human being cannot be monster. What I think is happening here is that the definition of a human is more or less obvious, and that anyone looking up human being is being referred to the entry monster because it's a qualification or exception to the definition of human being. That's what I was trying to say. This guy said it a lot more eloquently. Do you see where I'm coming from now?
So I still think it's a kind of like ridiculous argument, though, and so hear me out one second. Like,
100%. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just trying to get you in the frame of mind of how it could be used.
Sure. So I don't get what the point of this is, though, because so if you're sitting there and you're in court and you're a plaintiff's attorney, you may use the rhetorical sentence, "This man is a monster who should not be allowed to be around other human beings. He killed 6 human beings with no remorse." But if human being is defined as monster and they're interchangeable, then this monster should be locked up for killing monsters?
Oh my God, they're not interchangeable. Do I need to read that to you again? They're not interchangeable. What I think is happening here is that the definition of a human is more or less obvious, and that anyone looking up human being is referred to the entry monster because it is a qualification or exception to the definition of human being. You were on the right track, and somebody tell me, killed a bunch of people no longer has the right of a human being
because they are now a monster. I got you. So your point is that they're using this specifically 1948 edition of law to somehow subjugate us? I'm just confused as to what the point is.
Well, that is the theory, that if they can it's kind of like labeling somebody a terrorist today. If you're labeled a terrorist, there's very little
DEI.
qualification. What? DEI? What's that have to do?
Being labeled as DEI will get you fired or throw it. So yeah, so it's an othering term. I gotcha.
Anyway.
It's a label they put on people.
But a terrorist actually has laws enacted around it. We're living in a turnkey. Brett Weinstein likes to say a lot. We've been set up for a turnkey totalitarian government. And the way that they did this, after the War on Terror, during the War on Terror, they set up laws where terrorist was very loosely defined. I mean, anybody can be labeled a terrorist, domestically or foreign people. Labeled terrorists.
We've done terrible things with that, like from 2001 until now, yeah.
Right, and once being labeled a terrorist, an individual loses pretty much all their rights. They can be tainted indefinitely. Habeas corpus goes out the window.
Well, what's the
habeas corpus?
Habeas corpus. But yeah, the one thing that is kind of like the big slap in the face to America all the time is a lot of times when there's UN meetings, a ton of other countries will call on us and say that we're committing war crimes in Guantanamo Bay and that it needs to be, or crimes against humanity in Guantanamo Bay, and that it needs to be closed down. And that's specifically why we have that facility, is because it's extrajudicial. It's in Cuba. It's not in the United States. So all of those rules go out the window if you throw somebody down there because they're not technically on American soil.
Precisely. So my point is that like terrorist, if you're labeled a terrorist, you lose all your rights. You can be detained indefinitely without trial. Now, what they did after that during the Obama administration, and this is why one of the reasons why I'm really big, or I used to be really big into saying, it's a fucking uniparty, people, get over it. All the sowing of division is superficial. Under Obama's administration, going right from GW, Obama set up a law that enacts he did the one where you could be detained indefinitely if you were labeled a terrorist. That's what Obama did. Then what Biden did when he was trying to set up the disinformation czar, the government came out with legal terms for disinformation with a D,
And misinformation, yeah.
misinformation with an M, and malinformation. Now, here's the definitions, okay? Disinformation is when you knowingly promote false information. Misinformation is when you unknowingly promote false information. And malinformation is information that may or may not be true.
False, yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
No, let me finish.
Yeah,
Malinformation is defined as information that may or may not be true, but is propagated with the direct intent of causing dissension against the government. Now, all three of these things, you can, under the Biden administration, be labeled a terrorist. Now,
I understand. Sorry, go on.
So this is turnkey totalitarianism. They keep giving the executive branch more and more power, and all you have to do now is be guilty of saying something that's true that the government doesn't like. You're labeled a terrorist. You lose all your rights. You can be detained indefinitely, and all your legal rights as a citizen go away. So what it looks like to me, and I understand that this is primarily an historical artifact, 1948. I get it, okay? But it looks like it's the same type of thing. You're only a human being if you do not exhibit the traits of a lesser animal. Therefore, you do not have any rights if we decide you are exhibiting the traits of a lesser animal. So that's the way it looks to me. And I want to read this real quick. This is called Monstrous Rhetoric. This is another post that was in the same chat room. Because most of our law and our theories of law can be directly connected to the Roman Empire. So, for example, children born of prostitutes are monsters, according to Roman law, since they have a human nature crossed with the bestial characteristic of having been born of a vagabond or uncertain unions. So it looks like a way to disenfranchise citizens on a whim. I mean, Harry, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what they're doing, right?
Yeah, well, that goes back to the birth certificate. If you do the deep research on it.
You're talking about the strongman corporation that's set up under your name.
They create a different entity, and they create something else by the upper capital letters on you, but that's not the real you.
Right.
And that's why they get away with this thing about the birth certificates and the UCC code. They hide it in words, and most people are not going to look up the words.
Right. So basically what's happening here, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, but once you get a birth certificate, you're a straw man, basically a corporation is set up in your name that has value that the government can borrow against. And I think each individual is $1 million. We looked it up once. I think that's accurate. So every time you get a legal or financial document that has your name spelled all in caps, they are not addressing you, the citizen. Right. They are addressing the straw man corporation that's set up in your name. And that's why the UCC code overcomes constitutional law in a variety of different cases, because the UCC code is directly involved in trade and taxation. So that is the law of the land that you're going under as a strongman entity, and that's why maritime law takes effect when you enter a courtroom. You have to pass the the going onto the captain's ship, that little
Right.
door. Why does every court have that little door you got to walk through? Now it's a symbol. It's a legal
Right.
symbol.
Yes.
Now you are on the captain's ship. You are accepting the UCC code. You are accepting maritime law. Hey, look at the flag. It's got gold fringe. Constitutional law is no longer in effect here. It's a very tricky way for very smart people to magically use language to entrap you without your knowing. So let me read you guys one more thing.
I think J.K. Rowling wrote a book about that, but go on.
Really? Is it fiction or nonfiction?
Yeah, no, yeah. It was like magical language having effects on the real world.
Like not
It's-
fiction.
No. It's fiction. It's called Harry Potter.
Oh. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, man. It's true. I mean, for a long time, I really like the books Dune, where the Bene Gesserit are trained to use their voice to control actions through
The
intimate knowledge of
voice,
psychology.
yeah.
Yeah, so let me give you guys an example of that. I was playing pool with my dad last night, right? And he's about to beat me again. And he's got a really shot on the 8-ball. We're playing 8-ball. If he sinks this, the game's over. And it's a really fucking easy shot. He's like, corner pocket. And I'm like, you know what? I know he's always had problems with his dad. He could never get the respect of his father. I'm going to do like a dad voice that sounds a little bit like how I remember his dad sounding. And I just projected my voice right before he made the shot. And he goes, corner pocket. And I just said, no, as a command, like he's doing something wrong. And he waits a few seconds. He doesn't make any reaction. And, wrong key. And he misses the fucking easiest shot of the entire time. We played it for like 5 hours. It was the easiest shot. And I was like, I think I understand the psychology of what the Bene Gesserit in the Dune, but I think I nailed it. Yeah, if you know the person, you can read their psychology. So words, of course, have power. And I mean, you, Talking Head for a long time, I mean, you know this, the ability to read was considered a magical thing. I mean, and you think back to the Game of Thrones, where who's the fat guy? Tarly. He's got his girlfriend there, and he's looking at a book, and he's saying, hey, did you know that blah, 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 blah? And she leans over his shoulder and she goes, so you just sat there for an hour looking at little markings on paper and you have that information now? He said, well, yes, it's called reading. Well, to people who have no fucking clue what that is, it must have been a very magical thing, you know?
No, yeah, I do understand that, and I think that the commanding word thing is the thing that I like about the way Dune handles it, is that it's like it's not really a magical power. It's an intonation that they know. No, hear me out. It's an intonation that they know how to do. It's a science almost. It's a psychological science.
Magic is simply science we do not yet understand.
Sure.
That's the way I define it to a large extent. So let me read you guys this. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No,
I'm
I
sorry,
was just
go
saying
ahead.
that there's not really a dividing line between the two in my mind. That's all. But yeah, no, go on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So when I say magic, you gotta look at it the way I'm not saying that you can spit fire from your mouth or shoot lightning bolts from your fingers. I'm talking about you have knowledge that other people don't have. That's why it's called the occult. It's secret. It's secret knowledge. So I thought this was interesting. The title of this is called Catholic Origins of Futurism and Preterism. So for anybody who doesn't know, preterism is the belief that we are already living beyond the end of the world. The end of the world occurred, revelations happened, and we are in the aftermath of it, which is basically that has been a theory about the world ever since the birth of Christianity. So this is called the Catholic
essentially
Origins.
that we've been living in the end times the entire time.
Oh, the entire fucking time. Yeah. I mean, everybody, Christians have been saying we've been living in the end time since the birth of Christianity. It's pretty wild. So this is called the Catholic Origins of Futurism and Preterism. Excuse me. But the Catholic Church eventually came to the conclusion that it would not be able to ban or burn all Bibles, heretical books, and heretics that possessed or preached from them. The oppressive and crude tactic merely confirmed their identification as the harlot presented in church prophecy. A new and more subtle approach was needed in order to effectively counter the application of apocalyptic prophecy to the Catholic Church. One major identifying characteristic the Catholic Church needed to deal with was the time period of 1260 years that the Antichrist power was to rule, according to Protestants' interpretation. There simply is only one entity on the earth that has ruled for 1260 years, and at the time of the since the time of the fall of the pagan Rome, and that is the Roman Catholic Church. A new interpretation would have to be found that deflected attention away from the 12th century papal rule of the Middle Ages. So once again, just using language and
that's
story.
Pretty funny, actually. So I like that because that's just a silly one. It's just like that they realized that prophecy said that the Antichrist would reign for 1200 whatever years. And so when they hit their 1200th anniversary, they're like, fuck, are we the Antichrist? We need to make sure that people don't think we're the Antichrist. That is funny. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. But, once again, I mean, and legalese is a very powerful magical language. And I just thought it was interesting that it's another example of powerful institutions doing that, and once again, going back to Game of Thrones, where they're having Littlefinger and the fat bald guy, the eunuch,
Varys,
are having a conversation in the throne room. Where's power come from? I think it was the two of them. No, power. All
power
these different interpretations. Power is a story. It's a story that we tell ourselves and we all believe, and depending upon your knowledge of the words, especially in legal definitions, depending upon your understanding of the words that are used to express that story, your understanding of the story is very different. And the more you understand it, the more power you have. You see what I'm getting at?
Well, I think the interesting thing is, like, if you sit there and you take that concept and, like, for instance, you've seen the movie The Book of Eli, right? With Denzel Washington,
that's a great
Mila
movie.
Kunis. And
1000%.
the whole thing is that the quote unquote Book of Eli is that it's the Christian Bible, and Gary Oldman as the villain wants to get his hands on it because it's like, you don't understand like what people will do for that story. So it's an interesting parallel.
Yeah, exactly. Greatest story ever told. Personally, I don't find it that fascinating, but I'm definitely in the minority. And
there's a lot of incest and genocide, and so like I get that it was probably like pretty racy for people back in 0 AD, but
you think maybe it was just entertaining?
I think there were some people who were like, yes, this is Yahweh speaking to me, and other people were like, ooh, he banged his cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
They had something for everybody.
Well,
like hate your son, read about Abraham and Isaac, like feel like your neighbors kind of suck shit, read about Sodom and Gomorrah. You like reading about people doing dirty things and getting naughty punished for it by Sky Daddy, read about Sodom and Gomorrah again.
Yeah, it's kind of like a soap opera. I mean, you see these people, doing naughty things, cheating on each other, and you're just watching episode after episode for the cheater to get their comeuppance, Yeah,
exactly. It's, ooh, Sky Daddy hurt me so good. Just that bite of the bottom lip,
so,
just that
hurt so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good.
Sometimes love don't feel like it should.
But you make it hurt so good. Yeah.
But I do think that it's an interesting take to, like, I don't know what's up with that, like whatever that fucking law dictionary from fucking 1948 that you're referencing there. It's like, I understand the gist of what you're saying and that, like, you don't need the human definition in there, but it's like, to me, if you're writing any kind of fucking dictionary, if you've got C whatever under it, it means that those definitions are interchangeable, not that you should assume that the definition is what you already have in your head that isn't listed in this dictionary, and that this is an exception. So it's fucking weird. Like, I get you bringing it up. It's weird.
Take it from a power broker standpoint. If being a human being...
No, I get what you're saying, yeah.
You have inalienable rights. What you want to do is obfuscate that definition.
No, I understand that, but you would
Okay.
think you would put the definition of a human there along with the sea monster because
Not
in the
if
dictionary-
you want to obfuscate that definition.
obfuscate, by the way.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, gentlemen. I thought that was interesting. Harry and I wanted to bring it up on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like it's an interesting thing. I kind of don't know what to do with it because I feel like I'm devoid of context for why that was even written. You know what I mean? Because I actually started like looking up while you were reading that in the background,
I saw
what legal terms are and everything. In legal terms, a human being or natural person refers to a living individual, a member of the species Homo sapiens, who is considered a subject of rights and obligations under the law. So that's the legal definition of human being as far as I'm finding it. So
yeah, right now. Yeah.
It only being sea monster is weird to me. And it almost
Right
seems
now-
fabricated, and that's why that bothers me.
No, it's not fabricated. Harry has a hard copy.
Okay. I'll take his word for it.
Yeah, he can't find
Just-
it, but
He-
we printed
he
it
has a
out
hard-
online.
He has a hard copy he can't find. Where's that Superman #1, Harry?
I'm going to get it soon. And by the way, we just had a court case in Pike County that I embarrassed the judge, the magistrate judge, the sheriffs, all of them. And you know what? I used it against them. And you know what? I'm in limbo. I don't know if I have a driver's license or not.
What did you use against them?
I use a dictionary.
Black's Law
I
Dictionary,
use their words against them.
Yeah, I mean, Harry's pretty deeply into this, and he was showing me a lot of the bullshit that they try to pull in the most recent edition of Black's Law Dictionary, which he has. So I mean, I understand. So I guess maybe I have a little insight into in potentia what they're trying to do with something like that. And like I said, it's an historical artifact. This is from 1948.
But this is something that I brought up with you before, is that like this is what concerns me about what goes on in government today, is that the laws are written as such that they're either using antiquated language that no longer makes sense or has different context in today's, or it's just one of those things where it's like you could read it one way or you could read it the other. And I think that the really difficult thing about running a country that's ruled by the rule of law is the fact that you need to have solid fucking people writing those laws. Like the thing that you brought up with the Obama definition of terrorism. Like I watched that entire video it was Brett Weinstein, right? I always get the two of them first names confused.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so Brett Weinstein talking about like basically it's de facto fascism or de facto
No. So you watched that entire Dark Horse podcast, a turnkey totalitarianism.
Yeah, that's what it was, totalitarianism. But yeah, I agree with what he's saying, is that the potential of that law to be misused is egregious. And whoever wrote it should either have
all
dark
three of them
intentions or should be ashamed of themselves. I completely
1,000%.
agree. And that's always been my thing. Like our friend Mar is a libertarian, but he's
dude, we got to promote him. Can we? I know we don't have like anybody watching, despite my marketing genius. But can we promote him real quick?
Yeah. So Mar Omega, if you look up Mar Omega online, he's an performance artist. But he's I think he still probably defines himself as a libertarian, but he is a progressive libertarian. So it's like that's
not
like,
what we're promoting.
Yeah, Mar
That's
Omega.
not what we're promoting. Okay.
Yeah,
So you
Mar
were getting
Omega.
to a point. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. You were getting to a point about something he said. Okay, we'll promote him a little bit afterward. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mar Omega, MAR, and then Omega, OMEGA. Like that's why I was bringing up who it was.
Yeah, go ahead. He's a libertarian. I'm sorry. I was derailing you. Go for it.
Yeah, no. So he's a libertarian, but he's a progressive libertarian. So like because he believes that those freedoms extend to social spheres and things like that. Which, everybody's got their own flavor of how much freedom should I have and how much should the government regulate people. And most libertarians are like I should be able to do whatever I want insofar as it doesn't hurt anyone. And
that's what I agree with, but I think the rest of you motherfuckers need to be put in chains.
Well, and that would be the second side of it, that not a lot of agree with. But
that's why I'm not a libertarian.
Well, yeah, it's basically
I'm a fascist. I'm 100% fascist. I just think that I need to be the fucking leader.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that comes through with everything that you say and have ever done. But
Mm.
but no, where the fuck was I? You keep derailing me. So
Yeah,
why was
sorry,
I
dude.
bringing him up?
You saying Mar Omega, he's a little bit of a libertarian, but he's a progressive libertarian, and
Yeah, but why was I bringing him up as a libertarian? Because we were just talking about. So I had sat there and said to him, was it like my libertarian side, like the part of me that's just like we should have more freedoms? It's not that we need. It's not that we need more laws like that. That's where I think like a lot of people get annoyed is that like they add this shit like you're talking about with Obama and all of that. The problem is that we need to go back to all the laws that we have before we write any new ones and fucking reword them so that they're better written, so that they do what they were meant to do, instead of sitting there and having all these situations where it's like you said, like that's easy to use. I mean, like for instance, there's two people who currently being detained by ICE.
yeah, that Syrian college student. I totally unless I see evidence that he is directly involved in violence or law breaking, I was like, yep, here we go. I predicted this. Here we go. Because there's also 100% I disagree with that.
There's also a lesser known guy who just came out in the past couple of days. His story came out from Germany, who is also a green card holder, so he's a permanent resident. And what they're doing with that, specifically with Halil Malud, or I forget what his fucking name is. I don't feel like looking it up.
The Syrian college student? Just say the Syrian college student.
The Colombian college student who was a protester.
He's not Colombian. He's going to the College of Columbia.
Columbia University, yes, yeah, exactly. So, but what they're doing with him is they're not accusing him of committing a crime. There's a specific statute that's in fucking law that says that the Secretary of State can revoke somebody's green card if they're a naturalized citizen if they pose a direct threat to America's foreign policy. And that's what they're using to detain this guy. And that's scary. Like, that's terribly fucking written. Like, we need better laws.
That means if you're only under green card, you do not have the right to protest shit that has anything to do with foreign nationals.
So he is technically being detained because Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, is being used as the person who's saying this guy is a threat to America's foreign policy agenda.
Right.
That's all it takes. He doesn't have to commit a crime.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Agreed. 100% agreed. I think that if you're here and you're, permanent resident or whatever, I don't see a problem with protests.
But it's like, I don't think these laws were maliciously written. I think they were written by people who assumed too much about the good nature of humanity.
Oh, disagree. I think they're meticulously.
I think some of them are malicious.
Meticulously maliciously written, and I think they keep what they want to be obscure on purpose. Just like the thing that I just read about the term human being from 1948, I think they keep it obscure on purpose because they want to be able to reinterpret it in court. Let the lawyers argue it out.
And at their leisure, because they want to leave those loopholes. It's the same thing with the tax code. It's like you make an iron tight tax code. They don't do it because there are certain people who they want to be able to evade it.
That's it. Now you're getting it. Exactly.
No,
100%
I agree with you there. Yeah, the 1948 thing was just like, I'm wondering what the context of that was. Like I'm wondering how that wrote it and why. It's just it's sparking curiosity in me, because if they were going to sit there and try to make it as an exemption, then they should have had an actual definition for human being along with the parentheses sea monster, and then I'd be more on your page. It's just it's a weird thing to me.
No, but I think you're still missing the point with that. They want the definition of human being to be obscure at the time, so that you would have to deduct human being out of monster.
Which you have to do.
It was naturally born a human being, but it's not exhibiting lower animal tendencies. So they're free to define what lower animal tendencies are, and therefore taking away your humanity and your rights from you.
No, yeah, and I get what you're saying there. It's a weird thing for that to have been written.
It's
into
not
place. It's
logical. It's not mathematical, and that's the way your fucking brain works all the time. You have no concept of art and artifice. That's why you're like, wait a second, this is like 1 + 1
I'm
equals
sorry,
3.
I wrote an entire
You know?
fucking album. But anyway, go on.
No, you did. Yeah, many moons ago.
No concept of art and artifice. Part of this episode was me sitting there and saying that Leonard Cohen was prophetic. Jesus. No way.
But
no
you still
contact.
keep them very
Sir,
separate.
I'm insulted.
You keep art and artifice. You and Harry both do this. You keep art and artifice very separate from logic
True.
and deduction.
No, I got
and
you.
truth.
I hear you.
Okay,
I apply them differently to different things, and I understand how they like a more holistic approach of what life is.
And I'm pretty sure
I got you.
for
It's a fair
myself.
criticism.
Yeah, I have a more holistic understanding of what these things are and how they're used. I mean, art was.
I think you're looking
completely
more at the interactions between them, whereas I'm looking at them as individual things. You know what I mean?
1,000%. Well, nothing is anything unless it has an effect or interacts with another thing. I mean, that's just simple. That's logic.
Ooh, so I actually, real quick side. I actually was watching a video that was talking about how we ended up here, and a lot of the political divisiveness and everything that is currently occurring apparently dates back to a memorandum in the 70s that was written by a guy who ended up becoming a Supreme Court justice, and I forget what his name is, but he was making the argument to people that corporations needed to watch out because individualism was on the rise in the 60s and 70s, and he needed because people were individualized, he was weaponizing individualism to create wide divides between groups of people in order to sit there and get corporations to have their interests expanded by sitting there and having corporations pit people against each other to sit there and then come down on the side of corporations so that they wouldn't unify as a working party. It was very interesting.
Well, I mean, and then during the pandemic, we got a bunch of assholes that go ahead and get Pfizer tattoos. Yeah, send me that fucking video, man. I want to watch that.
Yeah, I'll look through my history. I'll send it off to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Absolutely. But what were we talking about just before you said as an aside?
We were talking about like the way that laws are written and that they need to be written better.
Yeah, so as right. So I have a more holistic, understanding of these things, and you're right. And I was actually thinking about this morning. You know how we always talk about how my memory seems to work differently from other people's memory? Like certain things I'll have like I realize what
timelines way off or facts interspersed in wrong places.
I have no sense of time, and that gets worse as I get older. But here's what I think it is I'm more, you're right. I was thinking exactly about this morning. It's really weird that you said that because I am more focused on the connections between things than I am on the things themselves. The things to me have always been highly irrelevant. It's the effects that they have, how they interact with each other. And I think that's why I always tend to have like this, what could be described as like a 20,000 foot view of anything. And I'm not concerned really with facts and data, unless they're trying to sway me to look at a larger picture. So I agree. But as far as art goes, from a holistic approach, I mean, even the CIA understood that representational art was extremely dangerous when when the Soviets were coming to power, and the Soviets were using representational art as propaganda.
Well, and that's why they backed Pollock and all of that. Yeah,
exactly. And the CIA actually funded Pollock, gave him the necessary corrections. They wanted Western American art to be something that was purely capitalistic, abstract is an afterthought, but what they wanted was something that was purely capitalistic, that would
a commodity as opposed to a statement. Yeah,
exactly. Something that couldn't sway your emotions. It was pure commodification of aesthetics. That's exactly right. So, I mean, on that note, we did want to talk about prophecy, and I tend to look at prophecy in a few different ways. I think, first of all, especially with artists, you have accidental prophecy, where somebody's just so highly tuned into their craft, what they're doing, that they accidentally end up creating an extremely prophetic work. And then you have, of course, people doing it on purpose, prophets, and that's what I call self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if your prophecy gets enough attention, a la the Book of Revelations in the Bible, it's like Gandalf said, prophecies have a way of fulfilling themselves. Well, if enough people believe it, eventually it's going to fucking come true. And then I had a third type of prophecy, which I'll try to think about. So one is accidental, and no one could have seen it coming. The other one people are going to make happen because there's so many fucking eyes on it. And the third one,
the attention economy has become so powerful. But go on.
1,000%. Yeah, and I had a third one, but I can't remember it right now. So why don't you, Talking Head, because we had this idea, why don't you start us off talking about prophecy?
So, specifically, one of the more interesting things that popped into my head recently was I sat there and was listening to some of Leonard Cohen's tracks. And tremendous fucking writer. He's the person whose poetry I aspire to and always feel like I will be forever reaching toward.
Yeah, Leonard Cohen's great, and I'm really happy that you and I got a chance to see him live before he passed away. He's tremendous.
Oh my god, that was tremendous at the Barclay Arena, and
not a great arena,
yeah.
shitty fucking arena, but his performance was amazing.
Arena. Oh my god, he came out dancing like the fucking devil, fucking
87 years old,
90. I thought he was 92 or something.
Whatever he was, way too old to be doing that, man. The guy had a shitload of energy.
Fucking tremendous. But one of the more interesting things that I ended up putting together sometime in my youth, because I was introduced to Leonard Cohen through the Natural Born Killers soundtrack.
Yep.
That was curated by Trent Reznor. Huge fan of Nine Inch Nails, so and I'm a huge fan of that movie. Fucking everybody in it did a tremendous job, but the soundtrack particularly spoke to me because it was so disjointed in a certain way. Because it had so many different sounds to it, but it worked in the context of the film. And there were two songs that I had never fucking heard in my life that are on that soundtrack. And one of them is The Future by Leonard Cohen. And the other one was also, hold on, let me double check. I want to fact check myself here real quick. Soundtrack.
Wasn't Democracy on Natural Born Killers? That's the other one, isn't it?
That's what I'm checking real quick.
I thought it was.
No, I was waiting for The Miracle.
Oh, okay.
But
all right.
I really loved those two songs. I really loved The Future or Waiting for the Miracle. And they're both by Leonard Cohen. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I sit there and I go to a record store and did the funniest thing was I bought an album called New Flesh for the Old Ceremony. And I didn't realize that Leonard Cohen had two very distinctive segments in his fucking career. And so I thought that I had bought something by the wrong fucking person. Because New Flesh for the Old Ceremony is one of his older albums. He started off with a folksy Bob Dylan kind of thing going on. And then at some point, he wrote the album The Future. And
at one point, Leonard Cohen got his vocal cords ripped out by Satan. And Satan put his own voice in his throat. That's what happened.
Yeah, or he was just like, hey man, I'm kind of this hippie dude from Canada. I these cool Bob Dylan songs. Would you mind if I just take a peek behind that curtain at the apocalypse? And then he looked at it, he's like, oh, I shouldn't have done
that. And then from that point on, he just sings with this croaky
this
old man voice.
Gravelly voice.
Yeah, and he wasn't even that old when he started doing it. It's pretty amazing. But it just works.
30s. He's just
works for every fucking song.
Tremendous voice. But
I love the line from Kurt Cobain from Penny Royalty. Give me a Leonard Cohen afterworld so that I can sigh eternally. That's such a great line.
But that's the thing, is he's such an artist as far as it goes. And anybody who doesn't know who he is, the incredibly famous song Hallelujah, you probably don't know what it sounds like when he sings it, but you know what it sounds like when Chris Wainwright sings it in the Shrek movie, or numerous other artists who have covered it. But just tremendous lyricists. But to get back to the point on prophecy, so I was specifically the song The Future was just such an interesting song. I was using the Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson, Goth Kid, and the crazy thing is that as much as those artists' music and lyrics like touched me in a visceral way, Leonard Cohen's lyrics were so much deeper, and like Democracy specifically in the future, the lyrics are incredibly interesting to analyze because it's just it. So if you want, I don't know how you want to do this. I could either put the lyrics up, I could literally read them out, like, you know, I don't know how you want.
Yeah, I if you can get them up on your screen, yeah, put them up. But still, let's have you read them one way or the other.
So you want to start with Democracy? I feel like Democracy is the more interesting one to start with because the future is more fun after that because it's very apocalyptic.
Yeah, I agree. Let's start with Democracy.
All right, so here, let me go. Trying to think of how I can do this quickly, and you can edit out.
Way to be prepared.
Hey, I brought them both up.
Good job for the New World Order. Awesome job.
Terrible human being. I am.
You're demoted. Oh shit! Number 6 is the first level. I can't do anything.
Oh really? Because I'd be happy to like getting dumb. Here, hold on. Share your screen.
Dude, if it's easier, I can put it up, man, or just read them. Doesn't matter. There you go.
Do you have a thing coming up to go live, and is that showing OBS? Question.
It's showing up in OBS.
So when you're on, let me try to get back to my Discord. Okay, yeah, there you go. Excellent. All right, I can see it on the screen, which means that everybody can see it on the recording.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, so it's coming through a hole in the air from those knights in Tiananmen Square. It's coming from the feel that this ain't exactly real, or it's real, but it ain't exactly there. And dude, I really feel
that's the way the last 4 years or 5 years felt to me, man.
That's what I'm saying. That couplet is like the death of truth, you know? And like, from the wars against disorder, from the sirens night and day, from the fires of the homeless, from the ashes of the gay, democracy is coming to the USA. It's coming through a crack in the wall on a visionary flood of alcohol. From the staggering account of the Sermon on the Mount, which I don't pretend to understand at all. And I really like that line because the Sermon on the Mount is sitting there talking about who the meek will inherit the earth and all that. So it's like, he said, it's like, democracy has all these high ideals. It's like, yeah, but we're not going to live. Shut up.
No, fuck that. It's kind of like the South Park episode about America saying that they want peace, but they go to war. It's like, oh, if we say we want something, then we can do the opposite and still feel good about ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, this is so fucking amazing. It's coming from the silence on the dock of the bay, from the brave, the bold, the battered heart of Chevrolet. Democracy is coming to the USA. You know, but even that line, like the brave, the bold, the battered heart of Chevrolet, this was written in the 80s. They already started like automating their systems and shipping like part manufacturing overseas and crap, you know. Like, right. The heartbeat of America is today's Chevrolet was the line back then. It's like it was falling apart.
Yeah.
It's coming from the sorrow in the street, the holy places where the races meet, from the homicidal bitchin' that goes down in every kitchen to determine who will serve and who will eat. And like, that's such a great commentary on like women's issues and fucking like, from the wells of disappointment where the women kneel to pray for the grace of God in the desert here and the desert far away. Democracy is coming to the USA.
Yeah, we're always at war in some fucking desert, and nobody's paying attention to the desert we have here, the metaphorical desert.
Exactly. Sail on, O mighty ship of state, to the shores of need, past the reefs of greed. So you need to pass the reefs, which, you know, historically fuck up ships and make them sink.
Yeah, I think we got that.
Through the squalls of hate, yeah. Sail on, sail on. It's coming to America first, the cradle of the best of the worst. It's here we've got the range and the machinery for change, and it's there they got the spiritual thirst. It's here the family's broken, and it's here the lonely say that the heart has got to open in a fundamental way. Democracy is coming to the USA. It's coming from the women and the men. Oh, baby, we'll be making love again. We'll be going down so deep the river's gonna weep and the mountain's gonna shout amen. It's coming like the tidal flood beneath the lunar sway, imperial, mysterious, in amorous array. Democracy is coming to the USA. I like that. The tidal flood beneath the lunar sway, imperial and mysterious. Like, ugh.
Well, let me read the last one, and then I have a... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, cause, like, if you want to read the last one, yeah, like, this is really love, like, and he's just, like, expressing how he feels about the situation. I feel this very deep.
I'm sentimental, if you know what I mean. I love the country, but I can't stand the scene. I'm neither left nor right. I'm just staying home tonight, and I'm getting lost in that hopeless little screen. But I'm as stubborn as those garbage bags that time cannot decay. I'm junk, but I'm still holding up this little wild bouquet. Democracy is coming to the USA. So to me, you know, I don't, maybe this wasn't the best one to start on, because to me this doesn't seem quite as prophetic as it is a chide to, it's an anti-prophecy. Like, democracy is coming to the USA. No, it's not. No, it's not.
So I read this as
so
very
it's kind of like, exactly, it's a chide. This is how you define yourselves, but you're losing your grip on it more and more year by year. It's further and further away from what you are becoming. And that is the nature of the prophecy of this song. It's not a direct prophecy. It's a meta prophecy. It's an anti-prophecy.
Nah, yeah. So then there's the future.
Okay.
So, give me back my broken night, my mirrored room, my secret life. It's lonely here. There's no one left to torture. Give me absolute control over every living soul and lie beside me, baby. That's an order. Give me crack and anal sex and take the only tree that's left and stuff it up the hole in your culture. Give me back the Berlin Wall. Give me Stalin and St. Paul. I've seen the future, brother. It is murder. And just the darkness in his, like, just looking at where the world's going.
Well, democracy and populism really does end up and he's an artist, really does end up, and we've seen this over and over again, being an anti-aesthete movement. Democracy and populism is always anti-aesthetic. Art is the first to die. Now, you have dictators, you have communism, and they always have very high standards of aesthetics. You saw the Tucker Carlson, where he goes to Russia,
the subway,
is talking
in Russia,
about the beauty of the subway, and Jon Stewart called him out on it. Like, yeah, okay, the piss and shit, that's the price of freedom. So if you want to go live in Russia, go live in Russia. I get it, but I mean, like one of my favorite artists is Odd Nerdrum.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look him up real quick so I can show... Actually, it'll just be easier for me to just overlay an image or a few images.
Oh, yeah, just add it in post.
Odd Nerdrum
We'll do it in post.
We'll do it in post. Odd Nerdrum is my favorite living artist, and he goes after the quality of painting of Rembrandt. Rembrandt is like his go-to guy, both in subject and mystery, in color and aesthetic,
he even uses the toothpaste.
Craftsmanship. I don't know about that. I
Yeah,
keep
you don't
going
know
back
about
to
Rembrandt
you,
toothpaste?
and
It's
it's just the fucking words on the screen.
Oh, shit.
But-
Here, sorry.
No, that's okay. And so, I mean, he is actually facing pretty severe what I and he would consider political attacks in his home country because he has what they consider to be an antiquated aesthetic. That type of high aestheticism, that high art, which are the treasures of Western civilization, are antithetical to the concepts of democracy and populism. It's always the first to die. Germany had shit art. Now, personally, I like a lot of the art that Hitler said was what did he call it?
Oh, like the nationalist art that he sat there. That's locked away. No. Vaults and shit, right?
No, the art that he hated, that Hitler hated. Degenerate. He called it degenerate art. Degenerate art. And
because he thought that postmodernism. Was it postmodernism at the time?
It's modernism. It was called expression. It was called expressionism. That's basically
he thought that
what
was shit
termed,
because he was a realist or whatever.
Yeah, that's what he termed degenerate art. Now, I like expressionism. That's my opinion, but I also see what could easily and what was lost in that breaking down of aesthetic values. And I think, once again, being a generalist, like we've already discussed, and I look more at how things affect other things than the things themselves. I mean, when you take high aestheticism away from a culture, you kill the fucking culture. In my opinion, you walk around and everything's fucking ugly. Everything is, look at the architect Le Corbusier, who said, "Look, we entered a new architectural phase, a new phase in aesthetic art. Buildings from now on do not need to be beautiful; they are simply machines for living." And Salvador Dali told him right to his face, "You're a fucking monster."
So the entire thing is, I do understand anybody getting mad at Le Corbusier. I understand mad at modern art. I mean, I went to MoMA. There was 4 pages ripped out of a Winnie the Pooh coloring book that just had a single.
I know. I was there with you.
Each one. Yeah. That's like that is not like, I get the statement he is trying to make, but like, this is performance art. This belongs like I don't know where it belongs, but it doesn't belong in the MoMA. But
I'll give you one better. There was a modern artist who got like a $40,000 grant to do a gallery show, and what he did was he took the $40,000, bought himself a bunch of name brand clothing, and then for his gallery exhibition, he stapled the shopping bags and the receipts to the wall. And I think it was Art Times or something called it Art Forum called it a harsh indictment of modern capitalism, a powerful show. And I'm saying, okay, give me a $40,000 grant. I'll come up with something pretty cool too. Like, no problem. Like, if I don't have to fucking produce anything and just take, if that's the ritual, because it's a ritual. That's all that was. It's a ritual.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, I think that art as ritual is something that people don't really delve into too much. And the fact that, like, you can make an artistic statement without making art. Can you agree with me on that, or do you think that's because I don't think those things are art. Like, I get that it's an artistic statement, but I don't think those things are art.
I think art is kind of like the term human being in the 1948 Law Dictionary. It's
a monster.
Ambiguous. Yeah.
But so I guess my argument would be that what they did was artistic, but what was the product that was left over wasn't art. Like they didn't create art, they created a statement. And not that a statement can't be art, but it's like it shouldn't be celebrated beyond the thought of it, I suppose. I don't know. Like, I get a little weird because, like, a lot of times I can tell what they're going for, but I still don't like it. I don't want to own it.
Well, that's why Ad Nerdrum, and I forget the exact roots of the philosophy, where the philosophy of aestheticism split. I could tell you the roots, but there were 2 schools of thought, and I think one goes back to Descartes. I may be wrong about that.
Yeah.
Descartes, thank you. I may be wrong about that. I'd have to look back into it. But yeah, he says, I'm not an artist. If I was an artist, I would never paint. So he calls himself a painter, and he says, what I produce is not art, it's kitsch, because you don't have to have an educated background in order to appreciate it. It goes after it attacks your intellect through your emotions. You feel something first, and it's more primal. You don't have to have this hyper elevated art history education in order to get what it's supposedly attempting to do. You don't have to have meta thought or meta thought or meta thought. And the more meta really your thoughts become, the more highly educated you're considered to be, especially postmodernism.
And that's really what postmodernism is. It's just all about the meta of it actually creating or producing. It's about what you're saying about the art of production or the production of art.
Now, somebody that has a high aesthetic standard very often ends up creating prophetic things, like you were just talking about with democracy, which I think is a little, it's like an anti prophecy, because it's talking about exactly what's not happening, and it's tongue in cheek, and it's meant to be to chide the people who say that they believe in democracy and the republic so vehemently, but are moving farther and farther away from it.
Yeah, and I really read democracy in particular as a song that's being like, well, show me the receipts.
Exactly.
like if this is what you're espousing to believe, show me the receipts.
Right, exactly. And then the future, I mean, how long have people felt this way? I mean, did you want to read some more of that? I mean, how long?
Yeah,
have people
well,
felt
specifically,
this way?
I think that the next stanza is particularly good because it's the bridge, I think it's the bridge. Things are going to slide in all directions. Won't be nothing you can measure anymore. The blizzard of the world has crossed the threshold, and it's overturned the order of the soul. And when they said repent, I wonder what they meant.
There you go. And I mean, the thing we were talking about on a few podcasts with all the left-wing fuckery going on, moving goalposts, how things are being redefined constantly. You don't know if, and it's overturned the order of the soul. I mean, just think about that for a second. What's the order of the soul supposed to be? Who's supposed to be at the apex of your personal pyramid? Because whatever that thing is the thing you worship. Is it God? Or, that could be an order of the soul. Is it your own sense of morality? That could be an order of the soul. Is it your own personal ideals that you developed through your own intellect and feeling, your own experience?
Have you been misled by a religion or a political pundit? Have you been, so the entire thing is like
that. Those things always, the first thing they have to do is overturn the order of the soul. Otherwise, you will not submit to them.
But things are going to slide in all directions, and there's nothing you can measure anymore. And again, we're speaking to the death of truth. The blizzard of the world has crossed the threshold, and it's overturned the order of the soul. And when they said repent, I wonder what they meant. And I really loved that line because we were raised in a ridiculously Christian household, and it was always nailed, drilled into us that repent means to turn away from.
Mm-hmm.
And when they said repent, I wonder what they meant.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I go? Because you can't measure anything anymore is the line prior to that.
Yeah, you have no objective
turn away from what is wrong. When they said repent, I wonder what they meant.
Now, and if you look at, as far as democracy goes, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you had in the last election, the Democrats telling you, if you want to save democracy, you only have one choice. You have to vote for Kamala, who didn't even win a primary. And then, in order to save democracy, I don't get to make a choice. Cool story, bro. And then now you have, in order to save democracy, which, I'm terming Americanism, now we have another conflation.
With apostrophe. So it's not Americanism, it's Americanism.
Americanism. Yeah. If you want to make it more redneck because you're a fucking elitist, that's fine. But in any case, Americanism, that's going to be the sovereignty of democracy. That's an aesthetic ideal. It's a word that means something that really isn't there. If in order to save democracy,
it's not
real. In order to save democracy, we have to deport this Syrian college student with a green card because he's protesting things that he doesn't like about America while he's here. That's how we save democracy.
And his politics are shit.
I think that 100%. But I think that in order to show people a better way, perhaps we could be leading by example, not saying, well, if you disagree with our values, you don't belong here. And it's kind of like that, to your point, this rednecky thing that everybody always says about people who say that they don't like something about America. What do they always say? Well, love it or leave it. Love it or go try living somewhere else. Love it or leave it. Well, first of all, I'd be happy to try other places if I had the money. It's getting a little wild here as far as trying to make an income if money isn't your only purpose in life. And second of all, actually, I kind of think that maybe being a patriot is about being able to speak your opinion about the fact that your voice and your vote matters, that perhaps
about saying I'm not going to fucking leave,
that the people in power are doing, you can try to reform that through the power of the individual rather than those who are in power, the power of the collective, the power of the bureaucracy or the deep state or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, this is my home, and if I don't like the way it is, I'm going to try to fix it. That's what a patriot does. Now, let me be very, very clear. That's not what I do, but that's what a patriot would do. What I do is I watch.
I am not a patriot.
I am not a patriot. I want to say I'm a citizen.
I want to build a podium for you that has like a little like seal of the NWO on the. Take a really long walk down a fancy looking hallway to get to this podium. And I just want you to get behind it and be like, I am not a patriot.
Well, listen, I would like to say I'm a citizen of the world, but that's super pretentious. And I'm not.
Oh, no, yeah. Get that tattooed as a tramp stamp.
The world or humanity or, yeah, exactly. So I'll say I'm a citizen of one. I'm a citizen of me. I'm a citizen of my world. I'm a citizen of what I create. I have created my own world. I have my own moral standards that are based on, as far as I can, reason. And probably more so, my morality is based upon aesthetic. And the fact that my reason is based primarily upon aesthetic is one of the reasons why, and this is the only country that I have direct experience of, I fucking find this country almost intolerable. The only thing that I can say about this country as far as a culture goes is that, thank goodness, it's very tolerant, or right now it is. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Well, right now it is. We'll see what happens. But it's very tolerant of eccentricity and being a weird person. You can still find a place. You can still find, your niche. You know what I mean? And a lot of countries, from what I hear, are not like that. But that aside, anything to me that I find ugly is morally devastating. And this country just is teeming at the brim with ugliness. And it feels corrupt, and it feels exactly the way Leonard Cohen is describing it in his work.
So again, just to end this little part off with, as far as the lyrics go, destroy another fetus now. We don't like children anyhow. I've seen the future, brother, and it's murder. And I think that that's such a perfect couplet, just because it perfectly encapsulates the left and the right in this, like, what the fuck are you guys doing kind of way. It's like, because the left will be like, well, no, yeah, like women's body issues, which I totally understand and everything, and the right's like, you can't kill that kid, but we're not going to take care of it.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother social problem. I mean, it is the parents' responsibility, but we built a culture where people don't want to take responsibility. They see responsibility as something that is going to pull them out of their ability to fulfill their dreams, which for most people, let's get right down to it, is making a lot of money, accumulating wealth in America. That's everybody's dream. And if you have, kids, fuck that. That's why nobody getting in the way of my dreams.
But that's why nobody wants responsibility, because, like, Jon Stewart says it all the time. These corporations, they privatize gains and socialize losses. And so, like, that's the macrocosm of the microcosm. Like, people
once again, I mean, I'm talking about leading by example, and they're, perfect point. So the most powerful entities in the country are taking absolutely no responsibility. So all these people we're supposed to look up to, all these this is the American magnets, dream. Yeah, I'll get to a point where I'm so fucking powerful that I don't have to take any responsibility for any of my actions.
It's like,
I can be the Clintons, and I can kill a bunch of people.
I gambled to make billions, and I lost trillions. Give me the money, because otherwise you're all fucked.
Yeah, otherwise you're all fucked. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, and I came to this conclusion thinking about it last night, is that responsibility is power. And then ironically, I was watching a David Icke video before we started this podcast. I forgot how much I love David Icke. I'm just going to say Icky. David Icky.
I know you like calling him David Icky for whatever
I do. So David Icky, I'm a huge fan of, and he was talking about exactly the same thing. If you are never taking responsibility for your own life, then you are always giving the power away to other people. You're saying that, oh, it's their fault that I'm in this situation. It's their fault that I feel this way. And for the last 4 years, especially, the left was so good at that. You misgendered me. Yeah, dude, you got a fucking beard and a penis. I mean, what the fuck do you want from me? Or you're making me feel insecure. Okay, well, I'm not doing anything. I don't care about how you feel. So maybe you should work on your feelings. You have to take responsibility for yourself at a certain point. And then when you decide to do that, you realize you're taking back your personal power. You find out how much of your experience you actually are in control of. And all of your power comes back to you. Responsibility and personal power are practically the same fucking thing.
But all right, quick leftist tirade here. So I agree with.
Don't go on a tirade. If you don't understand what I'm saying, ask me a question.
The principle of what you're saying, I agree. I think that there's two major problems that you run into there. And one is that the powerful refuse to be held responsible, and there are responsible people who have no power.
There's no such thing as a person who takes responsibility that has no power.
Do you take responsibility for your life or no? Like, do you feel powerless in certain situations? You couldn't get a job at one point because...
Yeah, I've been there, and I did the best that I could. I'm not sitting around, and yeah, everybody gets depressed. It is what it is. I'm not a fucking guru. I'm showing a philosophical point that power and responsibility.
Well,
Josh, sorry, talking head. I already agreed with you that corporations leading by example and having no responsibility and a shitload of power. Yeah, wrong. I get it. And I know that there are things that people experience that they have absolutely no control of. You know what you do have control over? First of all, you don't have to bend the knee. Second of all, you don't have to feel all this rage and turmoil if you don't want to. There's ways just to feel happy all the fucking time, whatever you're going through.
Sure.
And figure out ways to get out of the situation that you're in. Are there slaves? Yeah, they're slaves. Slavery fucking sucks. I'm not saying that the person chose to be a slave. I'm pointing out a very specific philosophical construct. Perhaps it's more pertinent to people that live in free societies than it is to people who live in others. However, what I am saying is that power and responsibility are the same fucking things. And also what I'm saying is if you have power and you divert responsibility to others, your structure will eventually crumble. And the United States,
and that's what's happening. I agree.
Through its welfare and its what's the corporate welfare? What do you call that?
Socialized welfare employment.
Through its welfare program and its corporate welfare program, where the corporations take all the profits, but society as a whole takes all the risk. Anytime you transfer responsibility while you're accepting power, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. And it's short-term thinking, and in the long term, your edifice will crumble. And we've seen that happen a couple times, and we're going to keep seeing it happen until it gets to the point where those institutions and that type of thinking just aren't going to be effectual maneuvers anymore, and people are going to start to recognize that. Like I said before, people do not evolve unless their fucking back is to the wall. And they're just going to have to get to the point where their fucking back is to the wall. That's it.
No, yeah, sure. My only thing that always sticks in my mind is if your back is to the wall, there's probably a firing squad in front of you, and that makes me worry.
There's sometimes, depends on what you did.
No, but
anyway,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't have anything pertinent to say. I was going to waffle for a little bit more, but go on.
So as far as prophecy goes, I do want to point out a couple of books that I have here. So Harry's nodding. He's excited about this. So I found out from listening to one of Joe Rogan's podcasts, and this is pretty exciting. Have you ever heard of an author from the late 1800s called Ingersoll Lockwood?
No.
Okay. So there are books. Now this is pretty amazing. This is from the late 1800s. So what I have here is the complete Baron Trump Adventure Collection by Ingersoll Lockwood. So this book has 3 stories in it. And the first story is called Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump and His Wonderful Dog Bulger. Second book is Baron
about Trump's youngest son?
But it was written in the late 1800s. Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. We're talking about prophecy, right?
I got you. I get where.
And the last book is called 1900 or The Last President. So the wild thing about this is, if you look at the character of Baron Trump, he's a total fucking narcissist. He thinks he's the smartest person on the planet, and his dad agrees with him. He, for example, so he has like these tutors, right? And while he's growing up, and his tutors, you know, they get well paid and everything. And then after they leave, he realizes that he's taught them more than they have because he's so fucking smart. So he talks to his dad about this. No, I'm serious. This is in the book. Okay, I just started reading the first one. This is in the fucking book.
Read that. Fuck me.
Okay. Right. So, and then he goes to his dad. Little Baron Trump goes to his dad and says, "What the fuck should we do about this? This isn't fair." He goes, "I think we should sue them for all the knowledge that you've given."
Holy shit! Like, wow. We need to look more into the life of whoever wrote this fucking book, because that's ridiculous.
Okay, right?
That's
okay.
crazy.
So then his father, they sue, and they end up getting back then something like $180,000.
Yeah, which is like
from
millions
suing the
today. Yeah,
millions. So his father's trying to figure out a way to invest it so that he can live the way that he should as a baron when he comes of age and all that. And that's pretty much where I got to in the book. Dude, it's so awesome.
Holy
it's so
fuck,
awesome.
Dude.
It's so
weird.
awesome, man.
That's
so
fucking
awesome.
Weird.
Now, at the same time period as he wrote the 2 Adventures of Baron Trump books, which are very whimsical. They're very well written. I love Victorian English. I forgot how much I love that writing style until I started reading this again. And the reason why Ingersoll wrote these books, according to the research that I did, is because Alice in Wonderland was very popular. So he wanted to kind of do his like own thing. And they're very whimsical, they're very, very cute stories. I like them. But I mean, the parallels to just the Trump attitude are fucking amazing, dude.
That's kind of my question, is like, so I feel like this episode's title should be like, you know, the prophecies of the future of Baron Trump.
Maybe. Now, during the same time period, he wrote another book called 1900 or The Last President. Now, sadly, I did read this one, and Baron Trump is not in it. I was a little disappointed.
He's not the last president?
But it does take place. It starts off in New York City, and there are riots from the socialist movement because they found out their guy who is going. Now, this is right after the Civil War, obviously, so it's a little different than what happened the last few years, but there are parallels. Socialists are rioting because their guy won the election for president.
Damn you, McCarthy.
Now, he ends up in there. They give all the people who got their gold robbed from them during the Civil War. They say, okay, so we have the gold standard now, and you guys don't have any money because the capitalists are taking all your money. We're going to put you on the silver standard. Now, silver is going to be worth 16 times as much as gold. Who doesn't have silver? You got silverware? Melt it down. We'll coin it for you. Now you're all fucking rich. And of course, you know, during the story, the economy collapses, blah, blah, blah. Now listen
inflation,
to this.
et cetera, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So listen to this, okay? At the end of the book, the Northwest, the South, and the Northeast are all about to secede from each other. That's why it's called The Last President, okay? Now, the president that the socialists elected he tries to address Congress, and they won't listen. They keep shouting him down. It's an appeal to keep the Union together. Okay, and just as he's about to make his appeal, why can't we all just get along or whatever? Somebody blows up the Capitol building.
Makes sense.
And this is the guy who wrote the Baron Trump books. I'm so many fucking parallels to what's going on right now. Now, the whole Capitol doesn't blow up. The people don't die, but the dome of the Capitol gets exploded. And what happens is the president no one listens to him, and eventually the nation splits into 3 parts, and never between shall meet. And they have a loose alliance, I'm assuming, but they're 3 different countries. And
eventually they're going to make one the 51st state.
No, that's Canada, dude. What are you talking about?
No, I know. Governor Trudeau. Although he stepped down.
Yeah, I know. He stepped down. He's no longer going to be governor of the 51st state. Well, fuck him. Oh, okay. So I got one more for you. So that's pretty amazing. Am I right?
Yeah, that's wonky. I'm curious.
That's
about that.
weird. That's weird. Okay.
It's hinky.
It is hinky. It is hinky. So I got a hardcover of this because if there's a book that's legitimate prophecy, I want a hardcover version. I got it on my Kindle too, but I want this on my fucking bookshelf because I feel like this guy was tapping into something. The coincidences are too weird, right? And then I got this other one. This might even strike you as crazier. So I got this book. Project Mars, a technical tale by Dr. Werner von Braun. Now, we all know who Werner von Braun is, right? What was he?
He was a Nazi for the Germans with the rockets.
That's goddamn right. And Harry, I think I need you to do that salute again so we can use that as we're going to use that as the thumbnail for the episode. Perfect. Excellent. All right. So
how Muskian of you.
Yes, exactly. Now, listen to this. How Muskian of him. In this book, there's a colony on Mars. The mayor of Mars is called the Elon.
Is he South African?
I don't know. I shit you not. But the title of the mayor of Mars is called the Elon. Okay?
That's funny, yeah.
And this was written, and I don't want a publication date, 1949, by the Nazi rocket scientist Werner von Braun. I mean,
there you go. It's like the 1948 definition of these people were all monsters. That's why we shouldn't take them seriously.
But tell me that. I mean, you can't just go,
that's strange.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. The mayor of Mars is called the Elon? What the fuck word did you just make up?
Obviously, it's a coincidence, but it's just like the whole thing that Lincoln's secretary was named
Johnson.
Kennedy, and Kennedy's secretary was named
Johnson.
Lincoln.
Was the vice president.
Kennedy. And this brings me to the that's right. Yeah. Harry has it right. Yeah. So this brings me to the other, and this is the third type of prophecy that I forgot. Okay. Sometimes prophecy manifests, and I don't think anybody actually did anything.
Oh, yeah, no.
Hang on. Sometimes I think it's just the universe, the simulation, just kind of winking at you.
Well, so we actually had this entire discussion once about the Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, about how, because the whole plot of that is that, a dead world's asteroid, part of an exploded world, ends up on our world. And the ghosts that are on it end up kind of, infecting our world.
Mm-hmm.
So it was this interesting concept for a movie where I think they're in universe, but it's actually just a bunch of dead things that don't understand that they're dead.
I'm sorry, you broke up in my headset a little bit. They're what? But they're just dead things?
So this asteroid lands on Earth.
I heard that.
With it, yeah. So with it comes this race of alien aggressors that are killing everybody, and we misunderstand what they are. By the end of the story, you end up finding out that it's literally the ghosts of another planet. that meteor that hit us was an alien planet that got destroyed by a war. And when the meteorite finally came to Earth and landed on us, it brought the spirits of the planet with it. And they didn't understand they were dead. They weren't a hostile invading force. They were just accidentally killing us because they didn't understand they were ghosts.
So, that sounds very Church of Scientology. What's your point?
Well, so my point is that, like, I feel kind of like sometimes you just see and feel and hear things that make sense in a way that you don't recognize as a prophecy. It's just something that's coming to you. You know what I mean? And you're misinterpreting it as fiction, or you're, seeing it as history, something.
Oh, yeah. So
I was talking about perspective, basically. That's why I brought it up.
100%. So sometimes I think shit like that happens because we are meant to understand that reality is not quite as solid as we think it is. And sometimes I think the universe is just throwing you a bone. Hey, just remember, none of this is really that real. You know what I mean? That's the way I interpret that type of shit.
Nah, yeah, I hear you. But yeah, it's that breakdown between, like, fiction and manifest.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all really that I had. I did have some videos queued up. Let me check them real quick. Let me see what I got here.
Because, yeah, I mean, we've been at it for like almost 2 hours at this point, right?
Yeah, I just want to see if I'm missing anything. Oh, I had Babylon B talking about things that they prophesied. Yeah, I wanted to do that to piss you off. We don't have to get into that.
I just don't think they're funny. They don't make me angry. Usually they're not. Sometimes they are.
Well, apparently, like, they also write, like, Onion type articles. I finally, generally, I do not find their videos genuinely funny. I don't think they're that funny either. But they were bringing up, like, Onion articles where, there were a couple of them which were pretty funny. They're like, listen, at the time, we thought this was hilarious, and then a couple of years later, they actually did it. It's pretty cool. I can show it to you. You want to see it real quick?
I gotcha.
Just do like a few minutes of it. Okay. Let me get the website up here. All right, here you go.
Before, but we're gonna read through some Babylon B prophecies.
We're one trick pony.
That are fulfilled over and over again.
This is funny because it combines satire with reality.
Jesus Christ.
Here are more.
The doom we're experiencing.
So everybody knows that The Simpsons predicts the future all the time. We at the Babylon Bee do too. Probably not as well as The Simpsons, to be honest.
Yeah, not as
because you
funny.
can't really compete with a show like The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's hard.
Been around for so long.
We got some great writers.
Some great writers, indeed. Especially those first 10 seasons. I was raised in a Christian household. I just watched The Simpsons like for the first time.
Wow.
And wow,
Yes.
incredible.
Actually, I've forgotten most of them, so I should go back.
It's definitely
been a
worth
long
watching,
time.
for sure. Okay, here are 10 more Babylon Bee prophecies that kinda, sorta, came true.
Kinda, sorta.
Prophecy number 1, May July 26, 2020. Nevada church avoids coronavirus restrictions by installing slot machines.
Watch this.
Fulfilled on August 6, 2020. Calvary Chapel to hold prayer service for Trump at Las Vegas Casino. So all the churches were closed or beyond a certain capacity, and so they said, well, we're going to hold our service in the casino. It's kind of 80% fulfilled because it's the reverse, but they didn't bring the slot machines.
The next one's the best. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the next one coming up is really good.
Jurassic Park. It's like, church finds a way.
The church finds a way. Finds a way.
Prophecy. Oh, wait. Prophecy?
Building your online business?
Oh, damn it.
Go to Wix.com and set up your...
I'm not building shit. Fuck off.
I did it.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay,
Usually I don't do it.
Yeah, you did it.
Prophecy number 2, made September 4th, 2020. Anonymous White House source claims Trump punched a baby.
Oh,
Wait, how could
the
this
one
possibly
after
be
this is
fulfilled?
better. Sorry.
So in this next one's Mediate posted. Watch. 98 times Trump disparaged babies by using them as an insult.
No way.
Disparaged them.
That's incredible.
I want to read some of the disparaging babies he did. There's no leak here.
So it's because he's going like, he's a big baby. They're a big baby.
Is that it? Why is he talking Bernie?
I don't know. And yeah, so they think that that's insulting babies.
God,
Doesn't everybody use baby as an insult? Why are we
Yeah,
singling
I
out
know.
Trump
Just wait for the
babies?
next one. I thought the next one was really interesting.
I'm waiting.
There's a whole.
Sorry,
video,
man.
huh? Are you trying to watch? Are you doing this right now?
I really.
I might cut around
Charisma.
a little bit.
These guys have the charisma of a
Trump
Cena
has
soap
invoked
napkin.
Infanto-Americans. to
Hang on.
describe-
Dude. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Infanto-Americans? Is this real?
Did he actually say this?
Is this a parody
Infanto-Americans.
site? I don't want the bee to get tricked by its own. This all looks like legit. Wait,
Mediaite's real.
Media is real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like if you didn't have that laugh
President
track in the
Trump has
background, this would be
currently identified for calling US
unwatchable.
military leaders losers and babies.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
also got a comically long history of disparaging infants.
1.77 million
Infanto-Americans
subscribers.
is a new one to describe a variety of feelings in adult humans. So it's just when he calls people babies.
Yeah.
You big baby. People do it all the time. It's not an insult.
It's insulting to babies.
It's just true.
Disparage baby.
Infanto-Americans.
Fulfilled.
Okay, next one's really good.
Inclusivity win. State of California to make all prisons gender neutral. This was on September 20th, 2017. Fulfilled on September
Sounds
26th.
pretty real.
I promise you that felt
That felt not
outlandish
real at the time.
in
Yeah.
2017.
At the time, but then they fucking
Sorry,
did it.
what were they saying? When you giggled, it cut out the sound feed for
Oh,
you.
he said, so their fake headline was California to make all state prisons gender neutral. He said, I promise at the time in 2017, that seemed like a pretty fucking wild thing to say. It was really funny. And then a few years later, I thought it was pretty funny. And really, I just wanted to do the Babylon Bee because I know you're very tribal, so you're just gonna be like, oh, it's the Babylon Bee, I automatically have to hate everything that they say, which I was right.
Oh, no.
And that's cool.
Oh,
I'm
no.
glad I got your blood working a little bit. That's awesome.
Good.
Yeah. The other thing I forgot to do is we have new comments, so I did want to go over that, but I like doing that at the beginning of the podcast, so we'll do that next time. I forgot. And I want to share one thing. I forgot what a fan I am of David Icke. So I wanted to show the first few minutes of a presentation that he did. This was posted back in 13 years ago, whatever year that was. So I thought maybe I could show like what I want to show, and then we could talk about it. But David Icke is a really interesting figure because so much of what he says seems like it's just so, oh my God, he broke through the curtain. Like, he broke through the veil. He understands what's fucking happening. And then there's the reptilians, you know? And you and I, and I think, Harry, you and I had this conversation too, that I think what he's doing, like maybe what he is saying is so powerful, maybe cuts to the quick of power brokers so deeply, even with the bloodlines and shit. Maybe it's all true. That what he has to do is say something in there that's so fucking laughable that he's not taken too seriously so that he doesn't attract the negative attention from people who actually have the power to destroy him. And it's a theory that I have.
So I've thought about this as well because we had talked about this, and it's like the more the time has gone by, I think that it's more that he is a lunatic who is connecting dots, and he's got like the base of how the dots connect, and then all of a sudden, ever fucking reason, because he's thinking about it in a certain, like, with a certain predisposition, he's like, so hence it must be space reptile. Like I think it's just where he is. Yeah, exactly. I mean, therefore space reptiles.
We never talk about this guy, and I owe him so much just for this idea for a podcast. I mean, New World Order, I mean, this pretty much comes from him. The fact that behind me is our reptilian overlord, Ralph, reptilian alien life form, and Ralph is trying to get into my body because this one's wearing out. He can't even move anymore. this all, and the New World Order,
Otherwise,
we
obviously,
sacrifice.
he would change his hat if he could move.
Of course. Well, I like the hat. Fuck off. The fact, that he, the New World Order sacrifices babies and drinks their adrenochrome to stay young. I mean, all this shit comes from David Icke. So, and we never talk about him. So I wanted to give him a shout out, and I forgot how much I genuinely, because he's become a little bit of a joke in my mind, like a hack to a joke.
Because, okay, so first of all, I want to say my opinion about the crazy, sits there, and the top of it's the space lizards, but the adrenochrome's still on the crazy column. I just wanted to. The stuff below that, where he's pointing out interactions with families and stuff like that, I find that interesting. But as soon as he's like, oh, well, yeah, they're sacrificing the young to adrenal glands, it's like, I don't believe that at all.
Well, I don't know. And it's like I told Harry in the last podcast. I think that, he was talking about Hillary and Epstein because we were talking about eating kids, of course. And,
well, yeah, obviously, as one does.
Yeah, and as one does when they are, delectable. So I was like, listen, man, I think the right wing blows things out of proportion. I don't necessarily think they were eating children on Epstein's island, but, maybe fucking them also not good? Maybe trafficking them
that's
also
not good.
Maybe,
yeah, sure.
Perhaps that should be enough. Do we have to say that they're eating them as well?
Sure,
how far do we have to go?
But here's my thing. Ask me if
I'm sorry, you broke up again. Ask you what?
I said ask me if Trump is a rapist.
Okay, is Trump a rapist?
Yes. Ask me if Clinton is a rapist.
Is Clinton a rapist?
Yes.
That's
the difference for me.
How are either of them rapists?
They both flew on Epstein's planes to his islands. There's flight logs.
Well, listen. I think prostitution should be legal. And
no, I'm saying the underage kid thing.
Yeah, but they were 16. Come on. I mean, give me a break. International
they were
waters.
As young as 13 and 12.
Oh, is that right? Okay, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's plenty of states where 16 is legal too, and I think if you consent, you can't say Louis C.K. raped the woman when he said, "Hey, do you mind if I masturbate in front of you?" And she said, "Okay," and then he did it, and then she's getting all up in arms. That's not rape. You said yes. You have to be responsible for your own actions. Yeah, I know, and we agree on that. I'm just saying, hey, listen, if you say yes and you're getting paid, fuck off. I don't know. I think prostitution is fine. Pornography is fine. Go for it. I don't give a shit.
No, I'm going to be honest. I completely agree that the sex work shouldn't be criminalized the way that it is. Everybody wants it. The question is,
I love you. Very, very diplomatic.
Hey, I try to be good. But no, I mean, if you want to your, hey, I've got a pussy to sell, I've got a dick to sell. Yeah, go ahead. That's a commodity. That's something that people want. If you're a 12-year-old kid, maybe you shouldn't be able to say, hey, I want to work doing this, since you're not
agreed.
The fucking grill at a McDonald's.
Agreed. Well, that was always my argument against a very simple argument against
I think prostitution should be taking illegal for adults.
What against children taking hormone therapy or getting castration?
Sure, with the trans shit. Yeah, no, I got.
Yeah, so my argument was always, okay, we need to set I think if you want to do it, you have the right to do it, but we do need to set a precedent on what age that is. And my argument was always, whatever age you make that, where you have the right.
Should also be marriage with parental consent or sex.
That is the age of consent. Period. If you now have the right to permanently deform your body, or permanently change your body, I'll be more diplomatic. Then you also have the right to consent to sex. So we have to, if you're going to be 10 and say I feel like a girl, and then you have the right to go and do that. Okay, well then you have the right to consent to sex. That makes sense to me. And I don't think that a 10-year-old should be able to do either of those things. So let me be completely clear about that.
No, I understand where you're coming from, and I don't know the science behind puberty blockers. It a lot of doctors sit there and say that So that's what I'm saying. I don't know the science behind it. I would have to look into it to better.
It doesn't mean that if you take puberty blockers and then you get off them, your body won't start producing. But what it means is that during a developmental phase, your body was missing those hormones, and that is damage that's irreversible. Does that make sense?
I got what you're saying, and I get that that's an opinion on it. I haven't looked into the science at all. I'm fully willing to admit that.
Okay, so you don't want to speak on it. I got you. So anyway,
yeah.
So let's get off that subject.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay. So I just wanted to show a quick segment, few minutes, just a minute probably, of David Icke. And I was watching this. I just forgot how much I fucking love this guy, and what a beautiful voice I think he is. And I've gotten so much from him.
Like Kermit the Frog. Please tell me he sounds like Kermit the Frog.
You've never heard him before?
No, I've never heard his voice.
All right. Well, I just want to play a minute of this because he's such a beautiful human being. I love this guy.
Okay, breaking the spell. That's what it is, really.
Hey!
It's like a spell has been cast on the human mind to disconnect us from the full magnitude of who we are. And great news is the people in control of breaking that spell is us. Not some external force, us. It's just a choice. A choice. We've had this schism energy, which has created this imbalance, it seems to me, more and more, which has manifested itself out into this reality. And it's made it more difficult for us to remember who we are and the nature of who we are. But we're now in a time, a wonderful time, when balance is returning. As a result of the schism, we've gone from how we used to be, connected to all that is, and we've had this spell.
Yeah.
It says that this is an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
I'm not watching this whole.
Dude, how many times did I say like a few minutes? I can stop it there.
Okay. Go on. I don't know.
He just says some. He says, in my opinion, some very beautiful things that are unifying, in that they show you what you can fight against. In other words, be aware of and make sure that it doesn't corrupt your energy, your life, your relationships, and how you interact with the world. He defines an enemy without making it personal, and then he gives you exercises through which to break down that enemy. And all the exercises are simply about building yourself up, taking on your own power, taking on your own responsibility. And I mean, if you want to be a warrior for something, but you understand that you can't fight for peace, because as soon as you start fighting, it's not peaceful. You know what I mean? That's an old, it's oxymoronic. It doesn't make any sense. But if you want to be a warrior for something, he breaks down a prescription where, okay, here, you can stand for this. This is a wonderful thing to stand for. And it will, at the same time, giving you a purpose and unifying people together under something that we can all agree on. That's at a fundamentally human level. Doing the things that he recommends is also going to build you up personally as well as your communities. And I think that I just don't think he's given as much credit as he deserves. So I just wanted to give him like a quick minute and, give him some props, because we never talk about him.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Anyway, yeah, we're about at that time. I'll let you guys cap off, and then we'll get out of here. Anybody want to say anything?
I was in. Sorry, go on.
Let me tell you about prophecy. 1848, we had a revival in this country, and everybody thought the world was ending, and they sold all their goods, and they went off, and it never happened. 1988, a named guy, Campy, he said the world was coming to an end. That never happened. Then you had the
I think I see where he's going.
Then you could see the Y2K.
None of it ever happened.
That didn't happen.
Oh my God, I remember
then
that.
Then the Aztec incident never happened. So therefore, does anybody really know what the end of the world will be? Well, I ain't going to worry about it. Mm-hmm. I'll just wait for it.
See, I do know.
I think that's actually a beautiful sentiment. I mean that completely unironically.
I agree. I agree. Harry, do you want me to ruin that sentiment for you? Because I know how the world's going to end.
Go ahead.
Because here he comes.
Go ahead, burst my balloon.
Okay.
Hold on, sorry.
However I decide to end it, motherfucker.
No, enjoy the fight.
It is a beautiful sentiment. I appreciate that. Talking head number 6. You have anything to add?
Yeah. As far as David Icke goes, like I actually have sure what the deal is, but like he always strikes me as that Tom Cruisey Scientology kind of thing, where it's like there's a truth to what they speak about, like not allowing a negative emotions to sit there and dominate your life, but there always feels like there's this weird sidebar to it that just kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's called reptilians.
Oh man. If I could
we already
walk with the
that.
animals, talk with the animals.
Remember, from all of us at the New World Order, let us inside of you. Thank you very much for watching the New World Order broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, and just remember, we're watching you too.
Someone is watching. There are strange